All right. What we're going to do is talk about the Maryland Annotated Code and the laws that affect computer hacking, computer fraud, and like offenses within the state of Maryland. And what I'm going to do is talk about a couple of the definitions according to the Annotated Code of Maryland, or the law, and we'll get into the law. And this presentation will be given to you electronically if you care to do that.
Yeah, you guys might see another law enforcement talk on your PDFs. That's for the afternoon class. We have two different speakers.
Right. And I don't work for the state police. That's the afternoon session. I work for the Office of Inspector General in the state of Maryland, primarily Bureau of Investigative Services that handle fraud type activity to include computer fraud. We call hacking computer fraud in our agency. So when Charlie had asked me to come in and give a brief presentation, I was glad to do that, because how many want to get into either state or federal service, government service, either civilian or military after high school? Raise your hand. Okay. If you commit a felony, guess what? No clearances. Whether it be a secret, top secret, okay, top secret, SCI, whatever, no clearances at all. Okay? So if you say, hey, let me see if I can get into the target hacker and hack all these credit card numbers, or how many's thinking about going to University of Maryland? Did you hear what just happened with University of Maryland?
Yeah.
What happened?
Somebody hacked in and stole all of the social security numbers of people since like 1989.
Right. Personal information.
It's like over 300,000
Right.
people.
Would you want that happen to you? Okay. So here they are, young adults going to college, or what you say, 88, way back, okay, who are old people, okay, have their personal information stolen, whereas credit cards, loans, automobiles, you know, whatever they want to do with that information to get it, okay? And even if your credit is bad or ruined by no fault of you, guess what? That could affect your clearances. You could be totally unaware of it. You know, rack up thousands and thousands of bills or dollars, and you have no idea this is happening, okay? And it can affect your future for employment, because employers do check credit references, okay? So if it's not your fault, but it's a legal hassle and lots of money out of your pocket or your parents' pocket to clear that off your record, okay? So that being said, let's get into a couple of the definitions. Okay. It's a variety of actions that destroy or interfere with normal operation of a computer system. Okay? You're trying to either disrupt, gain information, redirect information, what have you. Okay? Hacking. Hacking, according to the Annotated Code of Maryland, says breaking into the computer systems frequently with intentions to alter or modify existing settings. When malicious in nature, these break-ins may cause damage or disruption to computer systems or networks. People intent referred to as crackers, as in cracking into computers. This is right from the Annotated Code of Maryland. Okay? What other definitions have you heard about hacking? Any ideas? Any other definitions that you've heard out in school, on the streets? How about you? Anything? No? You're just here to understand what hacking is, right? Okay, unauthorized access. Trespassing within, communicating with, storing, retrieving, or otherwise intercepting or changing computer resources without consent. Without consent. Okay? These laws either relate to both or any other actions that may interfere with computer systems, programs, or networks. If you alter programs, alter hardware, intercept in any way, that's unauthorized access. And Charlie mentioned that in his initial brief this morning, introduction. Viruses. Okay. when I was growing up, virus meant, now this is an old guy joke, okay? Virus meant you were sick. You were physically sick, okay?
Was spam something you found in the fridge?
Absolutely, okay? And how many people are going to college? Raise your hand, or want to go to college? Okay, when you live in the dorms, remember, milk is only good for a week. Not 2 or 3 weeks, all right? That's important. Then you will get a virus, not on your computer. Okay? There are a set of instructions. How many people have never seen a definition like this for computer viruses? Raise your hand. Okay, so you're pretty much familiar with either not exact this definition, but something similar. But the reason I want to show this to you, because if you ever get caught for hacking or unauthorized access, this is the definition that they go by in their charging document to charge you with either a misdemeanor or a felony within the state of Maryland. Okay? Okay. This is the law that, or the statute, and it's really small, and I apologize. Basically, it's articles. It's broken down into articles, sections, paragraphs, and chapters. Normally, how many people have never heard of the Annotated Code of Maryland? Okay. Basically, what it is it's a set of rules or laws within the state of Maryland, passed by a Maryland legislature, that says you will or you will not do X, Y, and Z. Okay, and it's spelled out. At last count, there are 38 volumes, and those volumes have annexes, and each annex can contain either one annex or up to 30 annexes. So, if in fact you had hard copies, which I know you all are virtual, so everything's on your computer, but back in my day, we had binded books. Think about half or 2/3 of this room full of laws within the state of Maryland. Within this room, voluminous, probably about 10 or 20 binders deals with computer crimes or computer hacking. And the books are about this thick. Okay? So, in a sense of your terms, it's probably about 4 gigabytes of information on the computer. Just dealing with statutes of Maryland, primarily anything dealing with computers, network, hacking, and the crimes and the laws associated with that. Okay? And they're normally updated every year prior to July of each year. Okay? Now, the Maryland Code of Criminal Laws, this I mean section 7-302. This is where we get into what you can and cannot do. May not intentionally, willfully, or without authorization. Now, without authorization, that doesn't mean your parents said it was okay, your teacher said it was okay, your girlfriend or your boyfriend said it was okay to do. Okay, that's not authorization. Okay. Access, attempt to access, calls to access. Okay. It doesn't go insofar as thinking about accessing, because that's when you have, that's intent, and you have to prove that. All are part of the computer network, control language, computer, software, system, service, or database. You can't copy, attempt to copy, possess, okay, the contents of all or part of computer databases violated in Item 1 of this paragraph. So in legalese, it's saying that you really can't do anything. If you attempt to hack, if you attempt to access software, hardware, to modify it from its current structure without authorization, okay, and the law is written where it's sometimes what's called in a gray area, where it's up to interpretation, Okay, so if you get a very sharp district attorney and a cyber expert, they could really basically dwindle down the charges to fit what you've done. Okay, and it'll be completely within the law to do that. If you had unauthorized access. Okay. Let me skip down to the bottom dealing with the state government. A person may not commit an act prohibited under this subsection with the intent to interrupt or impair the functioning of the state government. That could also be the federal government. A service, device, or system related to the production, transmission, delivery, or storage of electricity, of natural gas. Perfect example. I didn't know you were showing that video, but that leads right into this. In the state that is owned, operated, or controlled by a person other than a public service company, as identified in section 1-101 of the Public Utilities article. And if you want to look that up, you could go into Google, type in the Annotated Code of Maryland or the Maryland Criminal Code, type that up, and you can find more information about that. Okay, all this is accessible online. Okay. A service provided by the state, in the state, by a public service company as well. So it's not just state government, it's contractors working for the state government, utilities providing utilities, electricity, water, sewer to the state, and vice versa, okay? So it handles everything, it's a huge umbrella, okay? Now, a person who violates subsection C2 or 3, which was on the previous slide, if the aggregate amount of loss is $10,000 or more, and in today's marketplace, $10,000 is a drop in a bucket. Okay, for disruption of a system, disruption of hardware, disruption of services, you know, it's a drop in a bucket now. So just remember, more than likely, you're going to be charged with a felony in most cases. Subject to imprisonment, not exceeding 10 years. Okay, you're all say you're 18, you'll come out when you're 28. You're half an old man, okay? All right? Think about that. That's 10 years worth of your life just to see, hey, let me see if I could get into this system. Let me see if, you know, you may be upset with MVA because they didn't give you your driver's license. And you want to hack the MVA database, okay? Or go in, hack the database, or somehow produce a driver's license, which in the intent of this law, okay, and I know nobody in here has fake driver's license. I know that, okay? We wouldn't say it anyway, right? But that's also a violation because you altered, and most of the driver's licenses are computer generated. So guess what? You committed a crime under section 7-302, okay? Let alone if your parents found out that you had an altered driver's license and going to the local club because you're not 18 years old, okay? That's another story. We'll let the parents handle that, okay? So, you know, that can happen, all right? If the loss is if the loss is less than $10,000, it's a misdemeanor. If it's more than $10,000, it's a felony. Not exceeding 5 years or $5,000 or both. I guarantee you, you will make restitution to whatever company or state agency that you hacked into or altered in some way or altered a program without authorization. Let me stop there. How many people have been working as interns? Anybody interning right now? You have computer, you know, you work on computers, you do software, and let me ask you a question. What if you go in and says, I got a better idea. Let me see if I could change this program to make it work better. Do you think that's unauthorized access? Why do you think so?
Because you weren't given consent.
Absolutely. Okay, it's something simple as that. So if you're working as an intern, and if you didn't want to be here to learn about this, you're all bright young men and women. I could see that, when I was growing up in high school, we had a manual typewriter. But, how many people know what a manual typewriter is? Oh. Okay, you saw it in Smithsonian. Okay, I got it.
Right next to the flip phones.
But, it's so easy to do, and it's so easy, to not think okay, you think you're helping somebody out, but you're really not. So the key is prior authorization, and Charlie said that. He's in this field, a lot of people are in this field to stop hacking, and it's authorized to do that to eliminate that. So if you got permission, great. If you don't, okay. How many people saw the commercial about the email? Guy sent the email out and his buddy's right next to his cubicle and said, yeah, I just sent it out to the whole company. And the guy goes around to the whole company and takes all the laptops? No? Oh, never mind. Okay. All right. Okay. A person who violates subsection 4 with a loss of $50,000 or more is guilty of a felony not exceeding 10 years or a fine not exceeding $25,000 both. If it's less than $50,000, again, it's 5 years or $25,000 or both, okay? I figured out, Charlie and I figured this out beforehand. If you're in prison for 10 years and you have to pay back $10,000, you could do that in the state prison system because you get 25 cents an hour. If you figure out 25 cents an hour, you could be able to pay that $10,000. Now, is it worth it? Now, come on. All right. I know you're here to learn, but you're also here to gain more experience, to get jobs in the industry. You don't want to hurt yourself by doing something stupid. Okay? I'm going to say it. Yes?
I was just wondering if you had an example from a recent case or something where somebody did something stupid, that seems kind of innocuous. Where, who knows? They were in Panera. They decided to scan the network and see what they could reach from there. They took down whatever the cash register in Panera, right? What is the,
Okay.
was that a $10,000 thing?
I could tell you as far as state laws. Now, if you do that in the private sector, there's two things that could happen. If they charge you, if they call law enforcement and you're physically charged, then these rules apply. Being stupid, going in and changing the system to change the total readout at the end of the day, which means that someone's taking cash out of the drawer, but the computer system says there's $500 in the drawer, but actually it's supposed to be $8. Okay? In the state of Maryland, it's a felony, and that's 2 crimes. One, hacking, and that would be a misdemeanor.
$300.
Actually, the felony is $1,000 or more in the state of Maryland. Less than $1,000 is a misdemeanor. Okay, but the dollar amount also includes what it would take to reinstitute software for fix for that, repairing the damage that's being caused within the network as a whole, consultants coming in to both software and hardware. So that dollar amount slowly adds up, and like I said in the beginning, $10,000 is not a lot, okay, in today's society. And on the state side, I could tell you right now, and I also work internal investigations, and that's where I get into fraud dealing with computer systems, software, and hardware. We have individuals taking personal information, same way like they did at University of Maryland, who was an employee, took personal information for clients applying for subsidies, whether it be food stamp program, medical assistance, cash assistance within the state of Maryland. They took that information, They also had fake IDs made on a computer, and they went in as Jane Doe and applying for benefits themselves. So this individual who was responsible for, as a caseworker, responsible for taking the information in, she actually went into the Maryland state system, received this personal information, used it for her own benefits. We caught the individual after a year, and within a year, she amassed between multiple accounts, not just one. She had 4 different aliases, and I think the net total was close to $34,000 that she received in less than a year by hacking into the system, which she wasn't supposed to as a caseworker, obtaining the personal information of others, and using that information for her own benefit. So, the outcome of that, she was charged with a felony because the dollar amount of the theft. She was charged with a felony within the state because of the type of computer crimes and obtaining personal information without authorization and using it for her own benefit. So she was fined $10,000, given 10 years for that charge, which is the maximum, and given additional 12 years for theft of information, personal information, and utilizing that information. So right now, for a year's worth of income, which amounted to a little over $30,000, she could spend up to 22 years in prison. And guess how old this individual was? Any guess? 22 years old. Right out of college, worked as an intern, received was hired by the state of Maryland, was only working immediately when she started working for the state as a full-time employee. She started gathering information slowly and using it for her own benefits. And the reason she did it, what do you think the reason was? She wanted to pay her student loans off. Okay, that's real world, folks. You're at that age that you have to think about this. And someone, very intelligent young woman, thought she could get away with it. Now she could wind up she'll get out of prison, worst case, at 44 years old. Okay? All right. Okay. That's all I have. Remember, you're very intelligent young men and women. I appreciate your time. To be very blunt, don't be stupid. You have a full life ahead of you. Use your knowledge and your experience for the betterment of an organization, the betterment of you. And then you won't have to see people like me coming to your door, or more importantly, talking to your parents and said, I need to talk to Jane Smith because she did X, Y, and Z. And by the way, the fines that are up there, more than likely, they're going to be your parents' responsibility, not yours. So just think about that. This is a great field to get into. There's many different avenues. It's growing, okay, but there's no easy route to get there, especially when you try, at least in the state laws within Maryland, don't do anything to hack, get permission for everything you do. It's always better to ask permission than forgiveness. Okay, in this case, forgiveness could be a jail sentence. So, that being said, thank you very much. Is there any questions before I get out of here? Any other? Yes.
You might want to about federal laws too. So if you do break some of the laws you showed on the screen,
Yes.
a lot of them will also apply federally. So
Well, it's called the Assimilative Crimes Act. And most U.S. state's attorneys, and these will go to the state's attorneys, whether in the city or the counties, if they could find a federal law to fit the crime, they will use that trumps the state law. And more than likely, well, not more than likely, always the state laws, the federal laws are more stringent than the state. Okay, so remember that. All right, good point, thank you. Okay,
All right, so
that's all I have.
just wanted to thank Gary for coming in.